Have a loss of hearing. The vision gets a little blurry. Physical limitations. We can't keep up with everyone else, hopefully. And the fear of unfamiliarity. You try to stay home a lot more. The more travel people who are speaking louder on phones, and it's just an isolation factor. So, testing this out with my own mother, asked her whether she would like to come and visit me here in Estonia. Huge excitement, conversation for hours. Then she realized she has to go through 4 airports, which is a great experience for those of us who are done that. But then you hit anxiety because the airport itself is a complicated place. You have to be mindful of the time. There's security, there's navigation through long corridors, and you have all these stages that you go through, and you kind of feel like you're being watched all the time unnecessarily. Then you have the feeling of helplessness, because especially if you're traveling abroad, most airports aren't built for everyone who speaks English. Even though it is an international space, you kind of feel helpless, whether you're coming from maybe within a domestic space as well. So the future of travel itself is the smart travel hub concept. So if you know the Changi Airport, for example, it's a city within an airport, basically. You have a lot more things to do, but unfortunately, you don't do the things that you wish you could do within maybe a 10-hour transit. So the idea is to make sure that your travel is done efficiently through the integration of big data. So how can we do that? Because in the present, we are stuck with this, maybe a little bit more updated version of that. It's a boarding pass with no proper real-time interaction with us. You have a very steady set of information that you're supposed to know, and that's who you're supposed to be for that whole journey. And Maria will explain how the navigation works.
So, in order to understand what happens within this navigation in the complex environment such as airports, we mapped it out and we found out, there are several stage checkpoints or moments that you have to go through. And then there are questions that come with it. Like for instance, when you're at the check-in desk, you want to know where you are and where you have to go to find your gate. Maybe through the journey you want to ask for support. And you of course want to know and be notified if there are any changes in your itinerary. And the way it's happening right now is that you have to look into these big screens that have a lot of information and a lot of unnecessary information for you particularly. So what is missing is a travel synergy, a mapping system which is synced with real-time data. So this is when we came with our solution, which is Waypass. Waypass is an interactive solution for complex indoor navigation such as airports. We want to enhance this experience, syncing it with real-time data. So we designed a device, which is a wearable device. You can put it with a strap around your neck, or you can clip it on your clothes. It has an integrated retractable holder that you can hand it over to some, let's say, airport staff if you are asking for support. It has a contactless point that is used in the check-in moment, so that's how the personal information is put into the device. And it has a grip-sensitive casing, so it's easy to hold and it doesn't fall off your hand. And it has a touch screen where you see all the information that is relevant for you. So it has basically 3 main elements: real-time alerts through vibrations, sensor-based positioning for tracking, and filtered updates. So as I was saying, there is a lot of unnecessary information in the airports, and what we want is to show what is actually relevant for you. So to achieve these 3 things, we developed an interface which is made out of 3 components. One is the information that you might want to access within the airport, such as restrooms or restaurants, or maybe you want to ask for assistance. On the right side is the personal information, is basically the replacement of the regular boarding pass, but it's updated and you will be notified if there is any change in your itinerary. And then the navigation, which is very important. People get lost very easily, so you will be notified when there is any change in the route within the navigation inside the airport. And you will be also notified with important tips, like for instance, if you are approaching to security, Some people might not know that they have to take their liquids out or the computer, etc. So how these features will be in the same journey that we were talking about before, but when you're already using Waypass. So you will receive the device in the check-in desk, and through all the journey you will be able to access the directions, and you will be notified if there are any changes in your itinerary. You also will be notified if you are taking too long to get to your gate and you're running out of time, basically. You reach your gate, and when you are on the plane, you basically need to know what is the seat that you need to use.
So no longer are the days where you have to shop through crowds to find out what's going on your flight. It's at the tip of your fingers. And we will apply this on a situation. So for example, if there's any sudden changes with your flight routes, it's updated immediately with an alert. Also, you can see your luggage confirmation, which is something that we have all worried about, whether you and the bag are on the same flight or not. So you can actually see that your luggage is checked into the same flight. And also the trackability. So imagine a situation of a flight cancellation during your transit where you have to actually take out your bag sometimes. The idea is to sync the airport with the people around it. So you have the wearables, that's the orange that the people have on, and also the blue, you can see, that's the sensors based in the airport. And also the yellow on top, that's the big data. It's a Wi-Fi positioning connection. So the people in the airport, the staff, are able to track the foot traffic within an airport. So they can conveniently divert them within maybe 5 counters versus a 2 counter versus a shortest queue. It's able to measure the distance, and it's able to give a live update. So the idea is to have systemized redirection. So the airport staff has control of you to a certain extent. That's why not the phone. So you have a separate device that's linked to the airport staff. They're able to control the flow of foot traffic within the airport section. And that's the trackability issue. This is another very common scene, not the most pleasant one, where elderly who have requested assistance are put in a wheelchair and they're kind of stuck alongside certain places. And you don't really see them wandering around airports. You don't have that freedom. So the idea is to provide them with this pass that they can actually have certain amount of independency. So only if you need help, you'll be asked to come and collect maybe with a cart, and they can be positioned in a certain place. But within the airport, they have the freedom to roam around as they wish to. And considering it's around your neck, they have the freedom to have the wheelchair within their own grasp. So these are alerts. The reason why we use vibrations for this is because an airport situation is already very noisy. If we try to have like sound systems that work long, then they might not really hear it. So, but if you feel a sensation, then you actually feel like you need to look at the device itself. So the system will have 3 main components. The input, beacons we included because some areas don't have Wi-Fi. At the same time, there's a situation that the Wi-Fi system might go down. Beacons work as offline proximity sensors. So for certain areas that can be used, and also Wi-Fi positioning. Processing can be done through a chip-based product in the device itself. And the charging docks, which are placed at the check-in point and also the boarding area if needed. And then the output is done through color-based signals for visual effects and also vibration alerts. The outcome of this is a real-time interaction, a smart navigation companion which is customizable overall to enhance your travel experience. Thank you for listening and safe flight.